Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Project Control Mastery. My name is GHORBANI. I'm the founder and director of Project Control Academy, where we help you master your knowledge and skills in project controls and take your career to the next level of success. Today I'm going to talk about the essential requirements for successful implementation of a project controls plan. And my assumption is that you already know what a project controls plan is. If not, no worries. I have already developed some more training videos for you on this subject that you can check them out. You can find those videos on YouTube, or you can check projectcontrolacademy.com, and on the blog section you can find the videos related to project controls plan. There should be two videos. One is what kind of a plan is a project controls plan, and another is the components of the project controls plan, or how to develop a project controls plan. But to give you a general idea about the project control plan is a well-defined, documented project control execution strategy that outlines the specific processes, procedures, tools, and systems that will be used by the project controls team throughout the project lifecycle. So basically, the project controls plan is a document. It's a document that outlines the execution strategy for implementing project controls in a project. And it's really important to develop a project controls plan for a project. According to AAC recommended practice on developing the project controls plan, the use of a project controls plan in a project is a leading success indicator of the successful delivery of the project. And the time that you invest in the development of the plan and its implementation would increase the chance of the success for your project. And again, I have talked about the importance of project controls plan in more depths and details in other videos, but I just here wanted to highlight the importance of project controls plan and why it's required. Going back to my earlier statement that project controls plan is a document and it's essential for the successful implementation of a project, I have to warn you that documenting the plan, although it's essential, it's not enough. There are other factors that contribute to the successful implementation of the project controls plan, and that's basically what the topic of today's presentation is all about. So there are 8 factors that I believe contribute to the successful implementation of a project controls plan. The first requirement, or the first factor, is funding the plan. If you don't have enough budget to develop a project control plan in the first place, there is no point of going any further with this subject. So first of all, you need to have a budget in order to put your mind around the execution strategy and the implementation strategy when it comes to project controls, and later to implement that on a project. But one of the most common issues that you might face in projects is lack of proper funding, especially for project controls function. And I have been in so many projects that project controls was underfunded. And I believe this stems from lack of proper understanding and knowledge of the effort that is required by the project control team on a project. If that's the issue in your organization, I believe that would be a cultural issue that you need to work on it, and it will slowly improve. I've been on those projects, and what I found was very helpful was educating the team on what we do in project controls, as well as consistently adding value and showing the value that project controls can bring on the table in a project. So if you consistently do that and educate the team, slowly people will realize the importance that you make on a project and the amount of effort that's required to produce a high quality deliverable, and then eventually it will increase the budget for your discipline. But you might say, I don't have the cultural issue. People understand the importance of the task I do. I don't have issue with the budget or funding, but the projects I'm working on are very small. Do I still need to develop a project controls plan and going through all these things that you're talking about? Well, for smaller projects, if you're really working on a small project and you don't have enough time or resources for developing such a detailed project control plan, then another good approach would be developing a generic project controls plan for a group of small projects so that you can tailor it for your project or kind of use that as a basis for executing all small projects. So all small projects would have the same structure and the same execution strategy when it comes to project controls. So that's one approach that you can implement if funding is an issue. Okay, the second requirement of the successful implementation of a project control plan is the development of the plan itself. Yes, you need to take the time to develop such a strategy and to develop the project controls plan. And again, that's a detailed subject that I'm not going into much details here because I have already covered that in other videos that I already talked about. For this subject, for developing the project control plan, make sure that you check another video entitled The Components of the Project Control Plan, so you know what goes into the project controls plan and how to develop a very good practical project controls plan for your project. The next step is, after you develop such a good comprehensive project controls plan for your project, is you need to get it reviewed by the project team and get the formal approval on that project control plan. And the reason for a formal review and approval of the project controls plan is, first of all, to ensure that you have a plan in place that's operational and you can use it as a basis for control throughout the project lifecycle. Second, you need to ensure compliance with the company's processes and procedures. You also need to ensure compliance with the owner's requirements, the project requirements and objectives. And finally, you need to assess whether this project control plan that you have developed is aligned with industry practice standards and recommended practices or not. It's something that you invented out of your own. So for these reasons, you need to have a formal reviewing process to make sure that the project control plan that is developed for the project is valid and can be used as a basis for implementation. And finally, another reason would be because project control plan is a formal document that you need to adhere to. It needs to be authorized because it's formal, it's a dynamic document, so there is no more question about that. So you need to have an authority to authorize it, and that person can be a project manager, a project sponsor, an SME or subject matter expert, or whoever you assign, or a group of people that you assign to review and approve it. But also project control team members need to be involved in that review process and make sure that that's something that's operational and is working. The next point, which is very important and yet very much ignored, is communicating the plan. No matter how much work and effort you have put into the development of a very good project controls plan, going and getting it reviewed and approved, but if you don't communicate it properly to the team, the effectiveness of the project control plan will reduce tremendously. And what happens, most people, what they do, they stop after the third step. After they develop the project control plan and get it approved, then what they do, they archive it in a project file or they publish it to the project team, and that's it. But they don't take the time to communicate it to the project team to ensure understanding of the project controls plan. So what I recommend is, once you develop the project control plan and you got it approved, make sure that you set a meeting. It can be an orientation meeting or a workshop with the control account managers and team leads in your project, and walk them over the project control plan. Walk them over the strategy that you're going to implement on the project when it comes to project controls, and make sure everybody is in the same kind of boat when it comes to the understanding of the project control plan. An idea would be, make it like a workshop, like a hands-on experience for them. You can walk them over a sample project and show them how everything works according to these project controls plan. Let them ask questions so everybody is clear when it comes to your execution strategy on project control. So it's very important, and it's yet ignored, but hopefully after this video, I hope you take the time to educate your team and to make sure that you communicate that properly to your team members, so everybody understood it and follow you throughout the project lifecycle. The next point is staffing the plan. If you don't have enough staff to execute the plan, then there is no point of development and going through all these points that I have already addressed. So regarding the staff or the project control staff in a project and the size of the people who work on a project control function in a project, that size is different according to the size of your project, to the complexity, risks, the type of deliverables that you are required to produce, the level of detail that you are required to deliver, and a lot of other factors contribute to the size of your project control team. Sometimes for a smaller project, you might have only one person. Even that person can be a project manager who is in charge of the project control tasks. But for bigger, more complex, riskier projects, then you might have a big team of project controls that each person or each group of people are dedicated for different scope of work or different functions within project controls. For example, you might have cost estimators, cost controllers, planners, schedulers, and so on a project. So again, the size depends on the size of the project control team, depends on the size of the project and the complexity of the project and other factors that you need to consider. But the bottom line is you need to have the right staff hired for this project in order to execute the project properly. The next point is setting up the project control systems and tools before jumping into the execution. And in project controls, we are dealing with lots of tools and gadgets in projects. So before starting the implementation, all those systems need to be set up. That can include setting up coding structure, setting up a project in a system, assigning access codes to different people, developing project control report templates, and much more. So that's the next step that you need to consider, setting up the systems and tool. And finally, implementing the project controls plan in a project. And by implementing, I mean, putting that plan into action and following your plan throughout the project lifecycle. But as you start the implementation, obviously you will face some changes, right? And for those changes, sometimes the changes that you might face would cause a change in a section of a project control plan. That section might no longer be valid. So in those situations, you need to go back to your project controls plan and incorporate those changes and request changes or revisions to the project controls plan, which needs to go through a formal change management process. And the result of that step is basically reissuing the project controls plan and basically following this cycle. Again, you might not need to go through each of those steps for reissuing the project controls plan, but most probably to some extent you will follow those steps and this cycle continues. So these were the 8 steps that are essential for a successful implementation of a project controls plan in a project. Again, you need to fund the plan, you need to develop the plan, you need to review and validate the plan, communicate the plan properly, staff the plan, set up the systems and tools before execution, execute the plan, and make sure the team follows the plan. And if there is any changes to the plan, make sure that it goes through the revision control and you communicate the changes to the team as well. So if you need more resources on project controls plan and on this subject, I recommend you check very good resources that we have, especially with AAC International. They have even a recommended practice standard, or sorry, recommended practice on the development of the project control plan. Check that out. Also, I found a very nice paper which I like, which is entitled "What's so important about project control plan?" So if you are still in doubt what's the importance of the project control plan, make sure that you check that paper out. And if you're a member of Guild of Project Controls, they also have a reference document in there, a big document, which has a section or 2 on project controls plan that you can check that out too. So with that, if you have any comments or questions, please post them down below. I will check those comments and questions and respond to you on a regular basis. So if you have any comments or questions, make sure that you write them down below. Also, if you found this video valuable and helpful, don't forget to give me a high five by liking this video and also sharing it with your connections. So until the next episode of Project Control Mastery, do your best in everything that you do, my friend, and make a difference. Hi, this is GHORBANI again. I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it added value to you, and I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, and if you want to be notified for any future videos that I release, just do me a favor and hit the subscribe button down below so that you get the notification as soon as I release a new video training. I normally release such trainings on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and I want you to be one of the first ones who get notified as soon as I release a video training. And second things I wanted to tell you is about my 10-day free training on project controls, on how you can start and step up in project controls, how you can accelerate your growth in project controls, what is the ladder of success in project controls, and my journey in project controls, on how I started and where I am right now, my secrets and the secrets of project control industry, and much more. So if you're interested in that training, if you want to advance in project controls, I highly recommend you to watch this training. If you want to get into project control, this training is also for you, and the good news is it's free of cost. So you can have access to my 10-day free training on project controls by enrolling for free. The link to this training is posted here in this video, so check it out. Just put your name and email so I can send you immediately series of training videos in your mailbox, so you can watch them, ask questions from me, so I can support you further than just these YouTube videos that you see. So I hope you can join me by clicking on the link or putting the link on your browser and entering your name and email, so I can send you my 10-day free training on project control. Thanks again for watching this video. I look forward to serving you in future videos.